Everybody needs to calm down today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Monday, April 11th, 2022. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and that is YouTube included. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Okay, well, that was certainly an opening weekend. The Detroit Tigers are officially playing meaningful baseball. And through the first series of the season, they are under 500, a 1-2 record. Lots to break down, lots to talk about. But the overlying or maybe underlying theme throughout this entire thing is going to be everybody needs to calm down. It is ridiculous, some of the things that are being said after 3 games of the season. Like, non-ironically, people saying Torkelson is a bust and is horrible. People saying that we should trade everybody already and, like, go into, extend the rebuild. People saying Mize, Manning, and Skooble are all busts. Like, a lot of ridiculous narratives 3 games in to the season. This is 3 games against comfortably the best team in this division. And your bullpen is shot. Okay? That's what, and not, I mean, for what it's worth, it's 40 degrees and you're playing in one of the biggest parks in baseball. So let's just all calm down a little bit. There's a lot of nonsense being talked about. A lot. And it's exhausting, to be honest with you. It's very exhausting to hear all day about how 3 games into the season, this team's going to lose 100 games again. It's preposterous. So let's just all take a deep breath and let's try as best as we can to go over the happenings of this weekend as objectively as we can. I will say, too, it is possible. I think I tweeted something like this out, too. It is possible to point out flaws and point out rightful criticisms and critiques while also not going around and being the person that's like, oh, 3 games into the season, yeah, this team's losing 110. Like, there's a line you can walk. And I'm going to try my best to walk it. And I'm not sure anybody's really good at it. But there is a line that you can say, hey, that sucked. That was bad. And hey, we need to work on this. If we want to win games this year, we need to be better at this. While also not having the mindset of, oh, it happened twice in 3 days in a 162 game season, so the season's over. There's a balance there, as all things in the world do, right? Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk some baseball. Opening day was a blast. So much fun. Saw a ton of you guys down there. It was super, super cool. If you walked up and said, hey, thank you, it's always super fun. Got some pictures, whatever. It was awesome. Super fun to see everybody down there. Saw a lot of other content creators down there too. A lot of people that make and put out Tigers content. It was a blast. It really was such a fun time. The whole day is just always, it's like a holiday. Up and down Woodward is always bumping. The tents, there's always a bunch of fun stuff going on. A lot of food, a lot of ginger ale. It's a good time, man. It really is. So, and to cap it off with a win, not only a win, but a win that was a walk-off by your new, prized free agent acquisition. It was an awesome day. It was a really, really awesome day and just fun. The weather held off, right? The rain held off. It was a blast, man. So Erod got the start that day. Didn't look too sharp. Not worried at all, as you can tell, right? If you're watching on YouTube, do I look worried? No. Erod's a dog, and he's fine. He's absolutely fine. If that is the worst performance we're gonna get out of the year, like if that's the floor for Erod, what 4 innings and 3 runs? That's the floor for Erod. That's a he's gonna be pretty good for us this year. And there was a lot that he could have done better. The command wasn't too great. Um, the movement was not as good as we know that it can be. Mostly it was a command thing though. It's a little cold, northern teams have to deal with the cold early on, whatever. First game in a new ballpark. Well, first game as the home team in a new ballpark. Everything's going to be fine. Not worried about Erod at all. Out of the pen, Drew Hutchinson was fine. Not blown away by his stuff by any means, but kept us in the game. Didn't give up any runs. So good on him. Alex Lang, nasty. That's the dog. Everybody who knows me knows my opinion of Alex Lang. Alex Lang is good. I was so happy I got to see him in person there on opening day. Jacob Barnes, not bad. Pretty nice inning for Jacob Barnes. I was impressed, man. I was really impressed. And then Gregory Soto obviously came in and gave up the home run, which led him to get the win, which I think is kind of funny. But he did give up the homer. Look, not worried about that either. Only time he pitched this weekend, so unfortunately, not a fantastic weekend for Greg. But at the end of the day, he still has the velocity. The velocity was still fine. He threw a slider that got tanked, and like last year, I'm pretty sure he gave up 1 home run off his slider all season. And he does it on opening day this year. That's baseball. It's going to happen. Not worried about it at all. Offensively, got off to a pretty slow start in this game as we did all weekend. So, reoccurring theme there. That's definitely going to have to get addressed. Really, I mean, I don't even know if I want to do like game. We have to do that for the pitchers because there's a lot to discuss with Mize and a lot to discuss with Skooble. But for the offense, I think we can talk more broad, right? I think we can talk more just in general landscape and outlook of the entire weekend. Javi Baez was not bad this weekend, and it's just ridiculous. Some people, there's a lot of nonsense being talked about, man. It's so wild the overreactions that come out of the first weekend of the year. It's so wild. It's mind boggling to me that the ups and downs of and how they are ridden, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Javi Baez was solid this weekend. We knew what we were getting. We knew we were getting a free swinger that was aggressive and he wasn't going to draw too many walks. And if the ball's in the strike zone or anywhere near the strike zone, really, he's going to take a big hack at it. I think he ended the weekend like 4 for 11, 4 for 12, 4 for 12. Not bad. Not a bad weekend, including the walk-off, obviously. And honestly, he had a couple this weekend that in June are home runs. Like the walk-off is one. That's 6 weeks down the road when it's, in the 60s or 70s. That ball is still going. That's comfortably a home run. He hit one to left field as well that got tanked. I think this was on Saturday. Definitely a home run in warmer weather as well. Just kind of comes with the territory of A, playing in a big ass park, and B, playing in 40-degree weather. So I thought Baez looked fine at the plate this week, and he was extending the count. Can't talk. Extending the count, working the count a little bit on Sunday as well. I thought he was solid. Some stuff defensively, well, the defensively as a whole, that's a whole different thing. The whole team defensively was horrible on Sunday. Just terrible. And Baez had some mishaps in the field as well. We will get into the rest of opening weekend for your Detroit Tigers after I tell y'all about betonline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your sports betting stats and info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information from live betting, playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website or use your mobile device today and learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, everybody, we are back here for segment 2 at Locked On Tigers. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day. Be sure to check out Locked On MLB Prospects. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia. He's going deep on MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Okay. Do we want to we can get the defense out of the way right now, I guess. The defense, we'll start with Javi specifically and then just go to the whole team. Javi was great defensively on opening day, made a really nice play that was basically shallow left field, deep into the gap. Phenomenal play. He's a phenomenal defender. He is. He has gotten criticism over his career for the throwing accuracy. He makes some throwing errors now and then. It's been pretty high. That number's been pretty high some years. Yeah, that's going to happen. And it did happen on Sunday. The problem is the entire team was horrid defensively on Sunday. It was not just Javi Baez, and he's going to get the most criticism because he's the biggest name and gets the biggest contract. Everybody was terrible in the field. Torkelson, phenomenal defensively in the first 2 games of the year. Not good on Sunday. Bobbling the ball. One really easy scoop he could have had. Not great. Okay. Jonathan Skooble couldn't throw the ball to first base. Had a throwing error. Javi Baez couldn't throw the ball to first base. Had a throwing error. Robbie Grossman ran one of the worst routes I've ever seen on a fly ball to right field. Should have been a routine flyout on Sunday. Just ran a terrible route. Went over his head. Extended that lead. Victor Reyes is already kind of shaky. He's athletic. He can make up for it sometimes. Already pretty shaky. I thought he should have got a couple of balls he didn't get. Jamer Candelario, rocket to him. That one's somewhat excused because it was a hard hit ball. Doesn't keep the ball in front of him, though. I mean, just all around. We were kicking the ball all over the field. No one could throw the ball to first. It was a rough day defensively on Sunday. A really, really rough day defensively. And that has been a problem for a while. The Tigers have had a pretty subpar to just straight up horrible defense for most of the last half decade. And this year you bring in Javi and you move Scopey back to second. I will say Jonathan Skooble in the first 2 games looked phenomenal defensively. And really outside of the bad throw, had a fine game. Didn't really get a ton of opportunities, but had a fine game, I guess, on Sunday defensively too. But you know, the throw was part of it. So whatever. It's just, it is frustrating, as I know it is for everybody, to have this team be so bad defensively for year after year after year, and then we finally bring in talent to help with the defense. Right? We're, like I said, Javi Skooble can go back to second, to where he's a significantly better defender. Torkelson, we've heard like his athleticism is going to play well at first base. And then, like, it starts, Green gets hurt. So now you have to put a below average defensive center fielder in center really the entire year, because Victor Reyes is what Victor Reyes is. And Badu last year graded out as a pretty negative defensive center fielder. So that happens, and then games like Sunday happen. It's just really frustrating, and it's something that definitely needs to change. I 100% agree with everybody on that. So we got the defense out of the way. Like I said, offensively, there was some good in there too. There was quite a lot of bad. The offense got dominated by pretty much every single starting pitcher the entire weekend, and that obviously cannot continue. Now, the Chicago White Sox are comfortably the best team in the division and definitely a better roster than the Detroit Tigers. which is why we're going to calm down a little bit when we address all of these things, right? But their 1, 2, 3 in the rotation are really solid. So I don't view it as like the end of the world. Oh my goodness, this offense must just suck after kind of getting shoved against for 3 games against the White Sox 1, 2, 3 in their rotation. Okay. Also, Dylan Cease just dominates the Detroit Tigers. The dude turns into prime Pedro Martinez whenever he steps foot in Comerica Park. It's incredibly frustrating, but that's a reoccurring theme that continued on Saturday. Let's what else is there offensively? We will let's just bring up Torkelson now too. Then I guess I don't think he's as overpowered as like this narrative that's going around online is. Like, oh, he looks just overpowered. He's clearly not ready for big league pitching. Send him back down to AAA. No, that's ridiculous. Like I won't say that too terribly often about other people's opinions on anything because everybody should feel however they want to feel. That's preposterous. He is like 12 plate appearances in to his Major League Baseball career, and he had an over 900 OPS in the minor leagues last season. He is too good for minor league pitching. He is where he was supposed to be. Everybody calm down, okay? 12 plate appearances in. You don't know that he is, even if you're right? Even if that's correct, and like 2 months goes by and he is batting 150 and is terrible, and they decide to send him down, that's not even worth a victory lap because you don't know that Spencer Torkelson is not ready for major league pitching off of 12 plate appearances in which he walked in 3 of them. You don't know that. You don't. That's objective. You don't know that. So we're going to calm down on that too. And we're going to let him keep playing. As far as there's kind of this like movement about, oh, he needs a day off tomorrow and it's vital. He needs a day off on Monday, and it's vital to his development just to let him clear his head. I'm not really against or for it. Sure. I don't think it's a necessity. I don't think like his season is on the line already, 4 games into his major league career, and he has to take a day off on Monday to get his head right, and that's going to be the fix. And he gets 1 day off, and ever since, once he gets the day off, he's going to be hitting, like crazy. But I also sure. If AJ Hinch thinks he needs a day off, then sure. Like it's not going to hurt him either. He's not on a hot streak that I'm like, oh, you need to leave him in the lineup. I mean, clearly he doesn't have a hit yet, right? But he has 3 walks, and he looks very patient at the plate, which is good in a young hitter to already be that patient. He looks good in that regard. The problem is and I can't believe I'm about to say this, he almost looks too patient, which again, never thought I'd see the day where I was clamoring that somebody, especially a rookie, was too patient at the plate. But any borderline call he's spitting on, even with 2 strikes, he's spitting on a lot of borderline calls. And I think like on Sunday, for instance, his last at bat on Sunday, slider right at the knees. It was a strike. It was. It wasn't even really that like close to not being a strike. It was a strike. And he took it, and he seemed, upset, like, oh, that was a borderline call, whatever. I thought that was low, whatever. You're down 8. You're down 8 runs. Just take a hack, dog. Like, just take a hack. Just see what happens. You swing and miss. You swing and miss. You clearly have a good enough sense of the strike zone to know that that's at least close. It's not like he just got dominated and was expecting fastball and got a slider and his legs buckled and there was never like he was never going to swing at it. No, he read it was a slider and thought that's below the knees, that's a ball low, I'm not going to swing, and didn't, and he was wrong because it was in the strike zone. My point is, on those fringe calls on an 8-run game, just take a hack, man. Just take a hack. And there was a couple like that. There's a couple this weekend that were like that were very borderline calls that he spit on and either got him to strike out or moved him to a 2-strike count. And I'm just thinking, man, like I love the fact that you're drawing walks and you're just trying to get on base and you're not kind of letting that moment get to your head like that. But maybe be a little bit more aggressive. Maybe be a little bit more aggressive. There's a couple of those that I was like, there's no reason for you not to swing there. And that strike 3 call on Sunday was kind of the poster child for that, I think. All right, we'll get into the 2 pitchers and anything else we got to cover this from this weekend right after I tell y'all about Built Bar. It's that time of year. You got to try the puffs, baby. You got to try the puffs. If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. They're all so good, they're going to be your new favorite. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. That's 100% real chocolate, puffs included. If you go to built.com, you can scroll down and look at the macros chart. You'll be blown away. High protein, low calorie. Most Built Bars have 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. You compare that to a candy bar, which usually has about 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. They're all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. If they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It will be delicious and good for you. At Built Bar, they are all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how, but they pull it off every single time. So go to built.com right now. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off of your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another segment, our final segment at Locked On Tigers. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day. Check us out on YouTube. Let's get into the pitchers because I think that was probably the biggest talk of the town this weekend. Casey Mize and Tarik Skooble, neither of them looked very good. Erod, we already talked about. He didn't look very good either. But specifically, the young kids, that's who everybody has their eye on. Let's start with Mize. So on Saturday, he goes 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. It's frustrating, and I'm sure it's frustrating for him too. I have no doubt. But he just is really struggling to generate swings and misses with at the major league level. Like that's really what a lot of it comes down to, man. Like he is really struggling to miss bats consistently at the major league level. And we look on Saturday, he had 5 whiffs total in the entire game. Caused 5 swing and misses the entire game. 3 of them were on the 4-seam fastball, 0 whiffs on his slider, 0 whiffs on his sinker, 1 whiff on the knuckle curve, and 1 whiff on the splitter. That one led to a strikeout, one of his only 2 strikeouts on the day. When it comes to called strikes, he had 13 called strikes. Pretty low number. 0 on the knuckle curve, 2 on the splitter, 1 on the sinker, 6 on the slider, 4 on the 4-seam fastball. It's just, and look, last year he was pretty by the end of the season at least. Well, the end of his non-innings restricted season, he was getting pretty good at inducing soft contact. Not Saturday. Not Saturday. He was getting hit around really hard. A 96.7 average exit velocity throughout the entire outing. That is not good. That is very, very high. An average exit velo of almost 97 miles an hour. And look, like we heard, like the splitter's coming back. He used it in the spring. It looked decent. But first game against first meaningful game, I should say, just tough. Like just really tough. Um I don't even know what else to say. Honestly. No, he wasn't fooling anybody. Uh we already talked about he just couldn't get a swing and a miss. Everybody was making contact with everything. And on the off chance that they weren't swinging, not too many of them were called strikes either. So just a really rough first outing. The White Sox lineup is very good. This is a very good lineup. And I think that he is going to be fine. I'm still fully a believer that Casey Mize is going to be fine. Just a rough start to the season. And definitely you can point to what he needs to improve on. You got to get better at I don't know if it's a pitch mix thing. He's got stuff that moves decently, right? I mean, we all know the splitter. It had great movement on it on Saturday. The curve looked pretty fine. The sinker and four seam fastball, the sinker can get a little flat at times, but it moves fine. The slider has a decent shape to it, I think. I, it's just not working, man. Not a lot of swings and misses, and it was his problem last year too. So first start of the year, we're already off to that. For Mize, Skooble has some different problems, we'll say, some different stuff that he needs to work on, not problems. Some different areas that he's got to work on. Tarik Skooble was has always been a guy with a lot of high strikeout potential. And like I said, I've said this before on the show, in double A, he has straight up put up one of the craziest K per nines that I have ever seen in my life. It was like 15 or something absolutely unbelievable. So we know that he has the ability to have really good swing and miss and strikeout stuff. We've always known that about Scooby. The problem is he gives up a ton of hard contact. And we talked about this in the spring, and it was no different in this game either. His average exit velo throughout the entire game was just about 94 miles an hour. And his average exit velo, specifically on the four seam fastball, was about 95 miles an hour. Those are also very, very high numbers. Scooby ended his line was 4 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 runs, only 4 of them earned, 1 walk, and only 3 strikeouts. Scooby had 9 whiffs this game. He's usually the guy that's getting a ton of whiffs, double digit, into the teens even, whiffs. Last year as a rookie, right? That was always the thing. It was either going to be a swing and a miss or the dude at the plate was going to crush the ball. This one still induced some swings and misses, not really on put away pitches, however, and gave up still a ton of hard contact. The average exit velo on the changeup was almost 93 miles an hour. On the sinker was over 91 miles an hour. Just a lot of hard contact given up this whole weekend. And the White Sox lineup is already really good. It's probably even better against lefties than it is against righties, but it's really good on both sides. Very, very talented lineup on the South side. And while, again, I don't think that the season's over, and I still think that this team is all of my predictions and stuff. I still believe that this team has the potential to have a really fun and solid year. But you can also point out that this weekend sucked. This weekend sucked. It did. I don't think the offense took a single at bat without being losing. Right? I'm pretty sure the White Sox scored in the first inning of every single game, and then we walked it off. Oh, I guess Javi would have come up in a tie game. That whole bottom of the ninth would have been a tie game because of Hasi. So outside of the ninth inning of opening day, the offense was losing in every single half inning and has not taken an at bat with a lead yet. We're going into game 4. We haven't taken an at bat with a lead yet. That's obviously a problem. The starting pitching was not good. No one should try to tell you otherwise. It was straight up bad. Scooby was not fooling anybody. Mize was not fooling anybody. Erod's command all over the place. Okay. That all being said, we're 3 games in to an 162 game season. And those 3 games were against one of the better teams in the American League and comfortably the best team in your division. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. I promise. Other standouts, we'll end on a good note. Who are the standouts? Austin Meadows, fantastic weekend. Fantastic. Love him in the 2 spot, by the way. I think it's the perfect spot for him. I put him at the 2 hole when I tried to predict, well, maybe not predict, but when I tried to say what I think the lineup should be. I think perfect spot for him. And he was absolutely fantastic the entire weekend. Eric Haas looked really solid, but even outside of the home run, 2 walks in a game from Haase, never thought I'd see the day. Beauty, absolute beauty. Victor Reyes' stance looked a little bit different. Everybody always gives me a fun hard time when Victor Reyes does really anything of value. Had a nice triple on Sunday. Beauty. I'll gladly take that. Yeah, again, a lot of deep fly balls in Comerica in the cold. So once the weather gets warmer, those will go further. And in other ballparks, some of those will be home runs. Just that's what you get for being a Tigers fan. Sorry, join the club. Like we're all in this together. The only other person I really want to talk about, Jason Foley really did not look great. His stuff did not look very good at all this weekend. I think he's on a pretty short leash going forward. But we're going to end on a positive note, we said. So, Elvin Rodriguez, I know he ended up giving up the homer and gave up quite that 3rd inning of work he had was really rough. The first 2 innings, though, I was very, very impressed. I thought his stuff looked really, really solid. The command could have been a little better, but I mean, first MLB appearance, maybe is riled up a little bit. I was really impressed with the stuff, though. Really impressed. And I would like to see him continue to get more opportunities. Tip of the cap to Ronnie Garcia. Wasn't too terribly kind to him on the opening day roster thing, and at least he was the only pitcher actually on Sunday to not give up a run. So tip of the cap to you, Ronnie Garcia. I think that's it. Yeah, that'll do it. Okay. To recap, 3 games in. One of the best teams will play. The best team in your division, comfortably. Pump the brakes on the extreme negativity. It's going to be all right. And even if it's a rough year, I promise you nobody can tell that 3 games into a season against the Chicago White Sox. Okay? Let's just relax in the wet. Look at it outside. Beautiful day Sunday. Beautiful. Hopefully the weather stays well. Just relax. Have a nice week. Hopefully watch the Tigers win some games. Hopefully take some steps in improve in the areas that we know they need to improve in. Let's try and have a fun summer, eh? Why not? Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every day, and I'll make your second listen Locked On MLB. Host Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues, both past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. That'll do it for me. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, kicking off a series against the Red Sox. I believe we have Manning, Alexander, Erod up to pitch those games. So see you tomorrow. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope, and I'll catch you all then. Go Tigers, baby.